a Singleton that came out earlier, like what, March, February?
About early March, yeah, early
Okay.
March, yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the album as far as, like what was your inspiration behind creating this album?
So I would say it started about, I want to say about 3 years ago, actually. I never thought I'd say that, but I came out with a single on an EP that's actually not available anymore, unfortunately, but it was called Singleton's Introspection. And I kind of just did a lot of writing and a lot of just brainstorming and thinking of like, how can I make myself stand apart from everybody with like my own like type of like brand or like this character, I guess, if you will. So the writing just started from there, and then I listened to a lot of Thundercat throughout that period. So that kind of was he was like the, I guess, musical inspiration for a lot of it. Um, and then honestly, just like I tell people, just life experience. A lot of the songs, I mean, there's kind of like an undertone of about like love, breakup, stuff like that. Um, but it just came from a real like natural place of just like living life and just experiencing things and trying to get it on paper without it sounding like um not I don't know, it's not cookie cutter, but like still original, but kind of in that sense. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a very like I think very soulful album. Like I was just listening to it like a week ago and the vibe like it really kind of took me back to that early 2000s R&B. And I think that's kind of what the music industry in some way is missing. Like it's kind of hard to find. Like actually, do you classify yourself as an R&B singer? Because like I did see Pop on there. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so it was kind of a dig because I had you kind of get put in a box when you do like a certain type of music, and I consider like everything's kind of like the lines are so blurred nowadays where I feel like now there's like people that are R&B, they're considered pop, and then there's some R&B that's like people nitpick too much and they're like, oh, it's neo soul or it's like neo R&B or anything like that. And I
yeah.
think I wanted to label it as a pop album so people wouldn't feel like, oh, well, he's just like in this box, because there's like some songs like I think off the top of my head, like Wednesday. I actually did a cover of Blessed by Daniel Caesar on the, I guess, deluxe version, if you will. And it kind of is like it's just like a pop song. I mean, when you think about it. So it's, mm, I would say I'm an R&B artist that draws from a lot of different like influences and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
definitely like R&B and soul
like
for sure.
your creative process. Now you mentioned earlier you work directly with producers. Are you one, kind of like I was describing earlier, as far as writing out the songs first, writing out the thoughts at least, and linking up with your producer and just telling them what kind of sound you want, or does your producer like send you a zip file of beats and you go through them and see what fits your vibe and write to it?
I would say it's a good mix of both. I would say there's some days where you just get, like you said, that zip file and you're like, oh man, and then the writing, you just start, get out the notebook and just go to town. I would say my main way of how I go about things, I just get like word web and I literally just start putting ideas together and trying to map and see how I can like place lyrics together. Just what sounds like more cohesive, I guess, for the most part. But it's a good mix of both. I think on good days you hear that one song and you're like, all right, let me get writing, and then other days you're
Yeah.
like, I have the song, but I don't have the music. So it's like you kind of got it's a good trade off, I think. So